because, well, this was our first one, right? And here is the building that we painted. We're just gonna do very much the same thing here. The While the wood is, it's wood, well, it's not treated or stained, right? It's just gonna mostly be turning kind of a grayish green almost. We're gonna do the same thing, and then we're gonna hopefully definitely be able to set fire to it here. And if you're wondering who it is that's doing the fire setting, well, that would be the Dunlendings. And we'll get into how we made the fire and such like that as we move along here. So, Ron, I hope that you're doing well. Well, thanks so much, Ron. And you'll be able to always check out all of the VODs from these things. They're saved as highlights, so they're permanent. It doesn't matter. I guess even VODs go away after a certain amount of time, even when you're partner. Well, we don't have to worry about that here because these things just stick around forever. So thanks so much, Ron, and hopefully we catch you, well, maybe tomorrow. And of course, I'm looking for the thing that had all of those miniatures in it. Here we go. Here we go. So what we might be doing, and this could be Saturday as well, we might be painting some of these things on, well, for sure Friday, because this is basically what I'll be able to get prepped is maybe a couple of these guys, and then maybe Saturday some more of those two. Actually, I'm just going to maybe leave these guys around here so that I can get to them a little bit easier. Now here, all I did was just brush on some primer here. Actually, it's a mix of 3-4 primers because we've kind of run out of all the primers. So I'm just going to toss a glove on my hand right here. Yeah, now Grumdy, have you ever painted any of those? Now, these seem to be a little bit more, well, I don't want to say quite like Bones material. There's going to be some difficult mold lines to get off of here for sure. No doubt about that. I think this is maybe one of the guys we'll for sure try to paint up on Friday. Maybe a second smaller one, as we got Stompy in the house too. Actually, ironically, Grumdy, what I wish they were was maybe some STL files. Because well, I'm sure you've had to deal with those too. I'm gonna just a little bit of Egyptian. What the heck? We'll throw a little Egyptian violet out there. Not sure why, but we'll just do that. I've seen a bunch of them on the YouTubes, back their game, Storm Sunder, and it's still called Storm Sunder, right? I think so. Here, let me see if do I have any of the cards in here. Let me see if I can snag some. Nope, not any cards in there. But I guess all the stuff comes in things like that now. Maybe. Not sure. Hey, Commander Mark, how you doing? So yeah, Storm Sunder. How many years ago was that Kickstarter? I guess it couldn't have been too many years ago. So all we're gonna do, just start to work in, not just a darker color here, but also something that's got a little bit of redness to it, right? Because that's what we're doing here. We have to keep in mind that this is, with the exception of up here, this stuff is pretty absorbent. Wild Ascent, which had a second wave Grumdy, I forgot all about that. I painted some of those Wild Ascent figures, and you know what? I just saw somewhere on Instagram, I think, someone was sculpting figures, or they had sculpted figures for Wild Ascent, and now they were sculpting figures for Storm Sunder. So boy, yeah, there's a blast from the past, right? Armored Wolf is here. Oh geez, Armored Wolf, I'm sorry I didn't send you a message. I just didn't want to bug you because I know you've just got a ton of stuff to deal with right there. And now, were you able to play a little bit of hooky tonight and just focus and work on what you needed to? Or did you still end up going to the toad practice there? Let's see, I believe the first game is Wild Ascent. And it's been delayed. I guess maybe Grumdy, that's why they're just sending me all this stuff, because it's well, delayed, right? I mean, this is pretty simple right here. It's Van Dyke Brown. Now, we are actually throwing a little bit of the Perline in there. Here, I'm going to get a little bit more of my thinner into this. So Stompy reveals the Book of Wappel. Well, guess what? Even though this is a building, all of these particular little things are going to apply. So right now, this is very much it's almost like a pre-glaze. It's got a lot of thinner in it. Now, part of that is because this surface is it's so absorbent. It's this foam, right? Even with the primer, it's still absorbent. Now let's move on down here, and you can see we're already going darker, right? When in doubt, make the colors darker. But contrast is more than just light versus dark. And guess what? Since this is object source lighting, you are going to see it big time. And we're going to show you that right after we do this here. So color, intensity, and temperature contrast. It's crucial, right? Well, here is why. And fortunately, we just happen to have this right here. So take a look at our building, and why don't we do a little bit of a film noir? Yeah, I mean, you can see that there's lighting there, right? But look at it about this way and watch what happens when we bring that color back. Look at what happens. Now you start that this is all very muted, it's cooler tones. This is orange, warm, very saturated. So we're playing the warm versus cool, saturated versus unsaturated game. So Commander Mark's still waiting on those paints. Actually, Commander Mark, wasn't there one situation where they never actually had the order in? So it's you were waiting and waiting and waiting, and those things never would have showed up because for whatever reason they never actually put the order in. Hi, Valfera. So Valfera, did you see? I did send you a quick message. Now, of course, I've lost track of where it is. So there is a distinct difference between this and the Indian yellow from Williamsburg. This is actually lighter. This is significantly darker. I mean, it's not like it's black in comparison, but this is very much darker here. Now, I actually do have it sitting on the palette. That was not what we wanted to have happen. Let me see if I can find that paint jar there before we roll over it or step on it, or one or the other. But it is definitely really different. There it is, finally. Let's see. No, no problem, Stompy. And this really is a good way to kind of demonstrate that. Boy, you can see how even though this has been a kind of a glazy thing right here, it's really getting absorbed, which is, I mean, it should do that, right? Oh, we also, again, have our homemade oils out here, our homemade fluorescent oils. Let's start to set some things on fire here, why don't we? Might even get a little bit of the cadmium scarlet into that. And let's just hammer away at this here, shall we? There's all kinds of flames here. We know we want it to be flamey, so let it be flamey. Let's get a little more of our reds in there. Let's see. So I just want to make sure we're all caught up. Sorry, I was at a total horse for reason. I just got back. Nah, so Armored Wolf again. I was thinking, should I send a message? And I thought, no, let's just leave Armored Wolf alone so that Armored Wolf can do all that important stuff. But thanks for being here. I appreciate it. So if everyone could please follow Armored Wolf on Instagram. Also check out Armored Wolf's Etsy page. Armored Wolf is preparing all kinds of amazing leather and metal goods and artwork for yet another event this weekend. So Armored Wolf is very busy. Yeah, Valfera, you can even see it. I can actually see it. I'm looking at the screen, and I could. So this is yours. That is almost. Boy, Valfera. Actually, when Kathy saw it, she almost the first word that came to her mind was raw sienna. So let's say value-wise, you're looking to compare them. I'd say one is like raw sienna and one is like yellow ochre. They're that different. Not kidding. Ranzarock, this is one of our buildings that we constructed here. So now this is the other building that we painted, but it was all made out of pink insulation, not insulation, pink underlayment foam. some balsa wood. Now you can go back and watch how that one was put together. Well, we also painted it, but look at all these other pieces that we made. So made out of this. Now that had a little bit more of the insulation foam in it because of some bigger pieces. This one, again, mostly the pink underlayment foam. We made an archery range here. We made a windmill, and yes, the sail does turn. We made a watchtower and a blacksmith shop. And we even started to get into our Easterling buildings before we were rudely interrupted by all the chaos of the last couple of weeks. Yeah, so Veilfarer, I'll give it a test. I we'll see what happens, right? Who knows? Maybe it performs some other functions. Maybe it does some things better than the Williamsburg. Who knows? It's possible, right? Hey Ben, how are you doing? It's nice to see you. Everyone, please also give Ben a follow because Ben is doing some amazing artwork. Ben, if you want to throw in some Instagram links so that people can see all the really cool stuff that you've been working on, it's really, really amazing. And folks, I don't think you'll be disappointed taking a little bit of time to go check that out. It's really amazing. So Ranzerok, like I said, we built all those on stream, so you just have to go back and watch all of the highlights are there. So you can go back and watch all of those buildings being constructed. I did actually do this is actually from a Patreon video right here. So obviously I wanted to maybe have one where we didn't have the usual, the chat and the usual stuff in the background of it. So yeah, we have one of these that was done for the Patreon page. But all of those other buildings that you saw, those were all done on stream. And you can go check those out. They're all saved as highlights. No problem, Ranzerok. And thanks, Ben. So Veilfarer, this is the one that I did for the Patreon page. Now you can see at the time I didn't have the 1/2-inch insulation foam. All I had was the 1/4-inch stuff, whatchamacallit, floor underlayment. But you can see here we actually had the pink foam, so we could do a little bit more with our texture right there. So yeah, if everybody could please go give Ben a follow. Ben's been doing just some really amazing work, and I think you're going to want to see that. I think you'll want to check it out. So here we're going to, as always, we try to establish the object source lighting first. There's pretty much no point in fooling around with other stuff first because, well, you might end up having to basically repaint all that anyways, and we don't have enough time to be spending to be working extra work, right? We don't have enough time to be painting an area only to just then cover it up with the object source lighting. So we don't want to be doing that. More of our, again, this is a combo of some of the fluorescents, some of the cadmiums in here. And let's take a little look-see. So you can see that lighting kind of carried into the rest of the floor. We got to do that here too. This looks very light. Well, it looks light now. This is by no means our lightest color. Because look at this compared to the white. Look at how dark that is. So this is our light color right now. So you can only imagine how much lighter this is going to get when we really try to get into our full-on flame effects, right? We just want to have this interior looking like it has a little bit of a glow to it. Thanks, Ben. Well, we're hoping, right, to be able to get all of these things. That's why I wanted to get this one painted. At least then maybe I can take a picture of these buildings with the Dunlendings and my Wolves of Isengard, because I think we've got a good, I don't know, 7 or 8 of those Dunlendings painted, possibly more. And I thought that would be really fun. I'm just, well, let's just say we're going to go into hyperdrive here, trying to, well, combination of doing commission things to raise funds. We're also going to be doing we're going to be continuing all the repairs on things. Yeah, Valfera. Because these things are opaque, it really makes a difference. On this one, I had to rely a lot on the cadmium colors. Now, of course, I think, boy, Valfera, do you remember if we were using the diet cadmiums on those or not by that time? Did I have those? Or Grumdy or Armored Wolf, do you remember if I was using the diet cadmiums? Because I have, what is that, the diet cadmium uh, yellow deep, and I think I actually have the diet cadmium scarlet too. Again, we're just going to throw a little bit of a reddish glow in here. Very little, doesn't take a whole bunch at all. Now, that was the first test for this. Yeah, see, I don't know why Veilfair, something popped into my head thinking, I wonder if we were testing out the diet cadmiums then. Where the heck is she? Oh boy, let me see if I can grab this here. You're gonna have a hard time seeing her. So this is the latest Dark Sword video that I'm probably gonna be putting up tomorrow. This has no Indian yellow on it, and I've gotten so used to using Indian yellow that I was really missing it on here. I really wish I actually had Indian yellow for that, but I was trying to test out some other things, so there was no Indian yellow on the palette for that one. So again, thanks. But now, Ben, is there any particular thing that you're looking at moving on to next, or are you just kind of like, okay, we're in a midst of a whole big kind of series of, because you went back to miniatures, I think. I know you were really going like gangbusters on the busts for a while. No pun intended. No pun intended. Let's see. So where's it's got a pick of the Fellowship, battling the Moria Goblins on the cover. So yeah, War Squirtle. What we're trying to do is I'm basically trying to make all environments of Middle Earth. Literally every single we got to make Moria. We have to make an Isengard, Fangorn, Barad. We have to make all of the stuff there. And the Sarge is going to fire back because we can't have a Blitzkrieg without, some return fire, can't we? So I do apologize again, everybody, for apparently more craziness in the stream here. I've just never seen this before. Let me see. Yeah, so and actually it gets better. It gets better because you guys are all going to experience this. I guess Windows 11 is just around the corner, apparently. So yes, that's the fun and joy that everyone's going to experience is the joy of Windows 11, apparently. And that is really something I would rather just be sitting on razor blades for a while than do something like that. All right, this is our toasty part right there. So what the heck? Let's Core Mechanical, thank you so much for the gift sub there. Here, let's we usually do this for level 3, but let's bring this out on a level 2 here. Right, there it is. There is our hype train. Hype train. Look at that. So close. Hype train.
So say we all.
So thank you so much, Core Mechanical. I hope that you're doing well. Now, hopefully, maybe the heat, the craziness, all of that weird stuff that's going on.
Say we all.
You've been able to maybe steer clear of some of that, I'm hoping. And maybe not get caught up in too much of that. So, yeah, I wish I knew what was going on. Hey, hobbies for happiness. How you doing? I saw, I saw your Instagram post, but hey, I guess what? I get to see you last night on the Pyro Club, so that was really cool.
Enters my domain.
And hobbies for happiness is doing a raid too. So hobbies for happiness. How you doing? We're trying to figure out why all of a sudden all my Streamlabs stuff just kind of died on me all of a sudden. Um, So, hobbies for happiness. If everyone could please give hobbies for happiness a follow, that would be sensational. Yeah, hobbies for happiness. That was a really fun session last night on the Pyro Club there. Yeah, it looked like you guys were really having a lot of fun. And well, I guess the orc went all what Leroy Jenkins, I guess would be the term, last night. Corey McKenna, I'm glad that things are going okay for you, and it's not too chaotic. What are we looking for here? Let's get a little bit more of our Van Dyke Brown in here. So unfortunately, I would love to show you guys some of the other buildings that we've done besides this one, but Streamlabs all of a sudden just disappeared. Literally all my stuff disappeared. We have this one to show you. I would show you some of the other under construct or projects that are not painted yet, but looks like Streamlabs is not going to let us do that. Let's see. So yeah, if everybody could please follow Hobbies for Happiness and Hobbies for Happiness. Hopefully your stream went well, and hopefully Streamlabs didn't collapse on you like it is on us right now, apparently. Oh, thanks, Hobbies for Happiness. I wish I could have been building some more terrain. Just the last few weeks didn't let that happen. Hopefully you are doing okay down there. I know there's all kinds of, well, speaking of craziness, there's all kinds of stuff going on with that. So hopefully that is not too disruptive. But it is weird. I'm looking at my screen and there's just nothing up there. All right, Valfera. Well, hopefully we catch it tomorrow. I guess I should have just shut this down and tried doing a restart, although it still wouldn't have done the update. So maybe that's the problem here. I have no idea. But I guess tonight's going to be a struggle. Who would have thought? Tonight will be a struggle. Huge surprise. I know that never happens with streaming or anything like that. So yeah, we're kind of hamstrung here. I'll have to figure out what we do later on when we want to show other things to people. So basically, unfortunately, the channel point reward things, don't bother wasting your points on those because I won't be able to show anything. Because that stuff has been totally now disabled. And I'm going to just come back in here with some more of my darker stuff. This actually has some of the perline black, so a greenish tone here. We'll come back in with some lighter stuff, but for now, just working in some of the perline black. So Veilfera, you take care of yourself, and like as soon as I have a chance to test out your Indian yellow over there, we'll see what kind of differences there are to the Williamsburg. I don't know, something tells me you're going to want the Williamsburg. Well, I mean, is that a huge surprise, really? Oh, thanks, Hobbies for Happiness. Yeah, here we'll just we had the picture here. We'll show it again. Here, let's see if we're still where we can actually show this. Of course not. So here, let's just turn this light off. So you see all this blank area right here? That's where all my scenes are and everything else, and that just disappeared. All of a sudden I looked up and it was gone. And there was no reason for that to happen because I didn't click on anything. It just disappeared all on its own, which is I've never had that happen. So Sarge, how the heck are you doing down there? Have all the critters recovered from the fireworks? I'm assuming that they have. So all we're trying to do is just work in a little bit more of our darker tone. But I really wish, I was really counting on having those other scenes so that people could see how this texture was scribed in. And unfortunately, they won't be able to see that. So I don't know. I really can't. I can maybe try and bring down some of the other buildings here, and see if we can show people that. All right, I think we've come in with a lot of darker tones here. Now we need to, I think, start focusing on some lighter stuff too. Yeah, this is all basically scribed in here with nothing more than a pen, just a ballpoint pen. You can come back and or go back and watch all of the previous episodes where we were working on this stuff. All right, well, what the heck? Let's get to our fluorescent here again, mixed with some of our cadmium. We're going to start to lighten some things up. And then we'll have to leave that alone, go back, work in some other areas, just let this set for as long as we can here. It's not going to dry, but it'll set just a smidge here. Let's get some of our cadmium scarlet into here too. Maybe start to think about lightening some of these areas up. So hobbies for happiness. What kind of stuff did you do on the stream? And I guess let's see, what is it? 2 weeks from now is going to be the next episode there. And well, I guess you guys also you leveled up too, didn't you? I think you also leveled up. Was that right before the break? I think. All right, back to some of our lighter tone here. And I guess we actually have some flames up on the upper reaches here. So let's throw some of that. We are working with some of our homemade fluorescent paints, which are more opaque. I think the last building, when we were painting those, we just started to fool around with we call them the diet cadmium colors, basically the non-cadmium cadmium colors, which they've been handy. I don't really care the fact that there's cadmium or not. It's just, well, if they don't have cadmium, it means they are more prone to dry pretty much at the same time as everything else. It's not like they have to dry faster. But if they dry at the same time as everything else, that can make things easier, especially when you've got something like this where you have these colors definitely will dry faster. But if this is all a bunch of regular cadmiums there, that's going to take a long time to dry. Let's see, drawing today added planets to a portrait that I did. Well, hobbies for happiness, as always. I know you probably don't have Instagram pics of that right now, but if you have some, some work in progresses of that, feel free to, feel free to toss that up into the chat there. 2 weeks out. Next is world building. So it's back to the world building. But I'm guessing that big building that you guys have been hanging out in, that will just be the base of operations there. And actually, folks, you should go check that out because there was some fantastic DMing going on by Big Jim Slade. There was really fantastic role playing being done by Hobbies for Happiness, Jarrett Terrain Minis, Megapedia, and they were actually doing some music. It wasn't just three folks playing bards. They were actually doing some a little bit of actual live performance too. So it's a real special thing. You might want to go check that out. It's the last work in progress piece that started using some Prismacolor. Boy, hobbies for happiness. Used to love the Prismacolors. It's been so long since I've had a chance to do any kind of colored pencil type stuff. What I might do is actually cut down a little bit there on some of the brightness here. Let me just turn this down a smidge for a second. There we go. Yes, so it did bring back a little bit of music rating for you. Because I know, well, Jarrett's pretty much sitting there with his guitar at the ready, right, at all times. And of course, well, Megapedia did her her rendition right there of the birthday song, which certainly brought down the house quite literally, because there was definitely some folks that weren't terribly vertical the next day after all of that festivity. Where's my? I will take just a smidge of the Egyptian violet here, and we'll mix that in with what we've got here. Get this a little bit more towards the red. Yeah. Nah, with Prismacolor, uh, because they've got that kind of waxiness to them, right? That really does make them very fun. Mega's the ukulele. Oh, no problem. Hobbies for happiness. It was. I guess. Well, it is being Wednesday night. It actually lets me catch it because I can't catch the Friday Pyro Club thing. Obviously, can't catch the Thursday thing for the most part, or anything that happens on Monday. So I'm just really glad that you guys are doing that on Wednesdays because I actually get to see something. So that is really cool. Let's see, Deuce just got back from painting. Let's see, 20 Reaper Bones glazed up and 5 or 6 Kit Bash minis, and as was a complimentary Space Marine acrylics. Well, it does sound, Deuce, it sounds like you were busy there. Sounds like you were very busy. So yeah, Deuce, I won't be able to do, don't waste any channel points on stuff because all of my scenes and everything disappeared. It's all just gone. I have no idea what's going on. But yeah, don't spend any of your channel points there because I can't show anything. I can't show any pictures. I can't even do any Book of Wappel stuff. It just all of a sudden in the middle of nowhere, boom, that happened. So Sarge, hopefully it's not too warm down there for you. Yeah, hobbies for happiness. It's really fun to see. Well, the role playing type stuff because that's really what I'm into. Just rolling dice. Well, then it starts to become almost more of a like a war game or whatever. But when you have some actual some really nice role playing in-depth role playing going on like that, boy, that is really fun to see. I really enjoy the heck out of that. And of course, it's just nice, knowing all the Pyro Club folks and such. Hey, Joy of Painting Minis, how are you doing? But yeah, hobbies for happiness. I know that. Oh gosh, what is it? No, is it November when the Extra Life charity thing happens? Because last year, I think it was in November, whenever it was, I did join them for the Extra Life thing, and actually that's where I did get to play Randall Snodgrass, and of course he was the bluegrass bard. Of all things, he was actually a bard. So that's what Kathy and I we just keep getting endless chuckles out of that. That you guys are basically a band of bards because let's just say that other GMs that I've been with, they didn't want to see one bard in the party, much less two, much less four. So Joy of Painting Minis, how the heck are you doing? If everyone could please give Joy of Painting Minis a follow, that would be sensational. Joy of Painting Minis has been hard at work on a whole bunch of Tyranids, and I'm sure is still hard at work on a whole bunch of Tyranids. Yeah, hobbies for happiness. He plays a wide variety of bluegrass. That is his thing. He has a +1 mastercrafted washboard that he plays. That's his prized possession right there. And I guess some people have said that he sounds like Andy Griffith, basically. He very much sounds like Andy Griffith. Let's see. Super close to finishing them. Going to be moving on to some knit guard. Well, joy of painting minis. Well, as always, if you got yourself some Instagram links or anything like that, and you like folks to see those, feel free to pop those in the chat. Now, this looks like it's later, but look at this next to the white. You can see just how dark that actually is. So there's no actual light colors in this. Yeah, we're just starting to work our way into that. We're just easing our way into that there. Of course, I can't see how long the stream is either because all my information is gone. Yeah, hobbies for happiness. Well, he also had a magical pig. Yeah, he's a magical pig who nobody believed he was magical. But of course, Randall always believed in Megas, the magical pig, who could do just amazing things. Nobody knew what those were, but he could do some really amazing things. Thanks, Deuce. Yeah, this pretty much everything is gone. Literally except for the chat and my basically my overlay and camera. That's all I can see right now. Everything else has been conveniently wiped away. Well, more like inconveniently, I guess you could say. So, unfortunately, all we have is just our other building. I just wanted to take a look here at what we did with the other building. We can go lighter with that. Let's see. Yeah, he was quite the fun thing to play. I also have another character that we were working on just in case. I think that's when I was going to be a part of the Xenelos project there with some of their occasional D&D playing. Let's see. Deuce says, as soon as I go post these Reaper picks up on Corks and realize that my Reaper Kickstarter last year arrived. So Deuce, is there something about, like, there's a container ship, ironically enough, that has ships on it? So all the people that ordered ships or something like that from Bones 5, they have to wait for this container ship to show up or something like that. At least that's what it sounds like. Well, let's see. The other guy is I think, he is a halfling master sommelier. So he is a restaurant critic, a wine critic, and his whole reason for adventuring is because he wants to try cuisine from all over, well, wherever, right? That's his big thing. He even has a magic table setting. So even if you're in the woods, in the deepest woods or something like that, he doesn't just he doesn't just eat off of the ground or something like that. He throws out the table setting, and everyone eats appropriately. Yeah, let's get ourselves a little bit more of our lighter tone into the, yeah, right there. So I have no idea if this had to do with me. Well, again, I didn't have the option there. It wouldn't have done updates even if I had restarted the machine. It would not have done the regular Windows updates, and I don't know if that would have helped. Let's see. So hobbies for happiness. He's well, of course, his favorite beverage is a pink Moscato, which of course most barkeeps don't seem to have, and they've never heard of it. So most of them just think he's trying to order a bug. And of course, he responds that Monsieur does not wish to eat a bug. He wishes for the pink Moscato. Just picking up some of our texture right there. Now let's see if we can maybe go a little bit lighter with some of this stuff, if we can. I'm going to grab this brush over here. And we'll take a little bit of our brilliant yellow pale, maybe even infuse that with a little bit of our Indian yellow now that we actually have it, yay. And I think this is going to have to be thicker too. So the flames that we did, well, that was with our heavy gloss gel, wasn't it? It's the same stuff that we use for water effects, for ice effects, all the good stuff. And we put some larger flame effects on this. So again, I wish I could show the done landings, but we're just gonna have to, or the scene-wise, we're just gonna have to do this. So it's very much the same thing like we did on this guy right here. And maybe we'll just leave him out there so we can grab him a little bit easier. Ah, there we go. Yeah, let's pop a little bit more in there. I wasn't quite sure what was going to happen, obviously, last night with Zeltaris not there, but it seemed like, I don't know, it's almost like Big Jim planned it to have Bobby go out and hang out with you guys with his magnificent sword and doing all the wolf killing stuff that he did. Here, let's lighten this up. This is still not even the lightest color that we can get here. I might actually, I'm going to kill a light or two here just so that people can make sure that people can see what is going on here. So thin over thick and vice versa, right? So this is the thick over the thinner color here. Down here being Slayer buddies. Yeah, Bobby, he's quite the orc of hidden talent, I guess. But planning obviously is not something that Bobby does a whole lot of. Yeah, he's more of an orc of action. That's what Bobby is. Do we have some flames? We do have some flames out there. Okay. That's a little bit better. And I think now it does start, yeah, just even that little bit of the lighter tone that really starts to bring out some of our flames. Did Joe fill in the plan with a character without a plan? Well, he really does. I do really look forward to the things that he GMs. I wish I could see the Pyro Club on Friday. I used to actually get to see that on occasion, or at least even part of it before I started streaming. But I haven't seen the Friday thing in a long time, and I know that that Liam that runs the Friday game. I know he is really really adept at what he does. He does some amazing stuff. So that's why I do recommend everybody, if you want to see some really fantastic role playing and GM work, the Pyro Club definitely going to get you there. You know, I'm going to just bring a little bit of our, go in some of these little bits of wood grain there, so I think people can see what's happening. We'll come back in here maybe with some more of our orangey color too. And maybe just a couple of these guys. We'll come back with some darker stuff too, I think. I think that'll be a good idea. Yeah. Grumdy, I guess we have some more folks in here too if you wanted to post some pics of things that you were working on too. Because before it was just kind of about the 3 or 4 of us, right? So now that there's more folks in here, if you wanted to post some of the things that you've been working on, that would be fantastic. Here, let's bring in a little bit of that Indian yellow just to make sure it stays on the warmer side and doesn't end up almost getting a little bit washed out, because the white can do that, right? Now I think it's going to be time to maybe come back into here with a almost like a kind of a greenish tone. This is kind of a greenish gray. That's the perline black there. Might let a little bit of the Van Dyke brown work its way into that. And all of a sudden, we're not going to just do simple dry brushing here. I just want to bring out some of the wood texture here, just so that I, well, can come back and build it up some more. But first, we have to be able to see it. That was more of the Liquitex heavy gel that we used there. And all kidding aside, this is definitely a dry brush. However, whatever paint's already there is going to pick that up. And I can already see it's doing that. I can definitely see it's doing that. And of course, this is not, it's not like this is going to dry before our next layer either, but something we can build from. The quinacridone golden brown is a workhorse. And there's Grumdy posted some links. So again, folks, please check out Grumdy's Instagram and all the amazing things that Grumdy's been working on. It's really incredible. Yeah, so Deuce, that quinacridone golden, but I haven't used it in a while because I used obviously an awful lot of it on the color charts and stuff. So all of a sudden we went from a lot of it to not a whole bunch of it, right? Yeah, all of a sudden we were running a little bit low on the quinacridone golden brown. Now this is gonna be a different thing. We got some of the asphaltum. That gives it more of a red look to it here. And maybe that's not even a dry enough brush. There we go. All I want to do is just kind of map out what I'm looking for here. We'll come back in. We can darken some of these. We can lighten some of these. Let's see. I have not mixed them with mica. Boy, I think, well, Deuce, I could imagine, you know, the green stuff world, the powdered pigments that we mixed with the powdered pigments with the linseed oil. Boy, can you imagine what that gold would be like mixed with the quinacridone golden brown? I think it would be pretty sensational, don't you? Thanks, Hobbies for Happiness. I'll be curious to see what happens when I paint the roofs that actually have the whatever that straw stuff was. Oh, what the heck? I'm going to try it. This is a little bit of the Indian yellow that was sent to us by Valfera. So we're just going to make a little bit of a change there. All of a sudden, this quickly gets a bit of a brownish tinge to it, almost like an ochre type of a tinge, which is funny because we were using yellow ochre and a little bit of a comparison between that and the Williamsburg Indian yellow. There we go. So now actually, so Hobbies for Happiness, I guess this was the thing I was wondering is if you're doing the world building thing, does and then you participate in the adventure, right? Is it do you have to kind of just turn off your it's like, okay, yeah, I know what's coming here. I know what we built over here, or I know what this is named, or something like that. Because that was the one question I was wondering about. Did you almost feel like, well, you can't see the world building episodes because you don't want to potentially know what's around the corner or around the next tree? Oh, well, so Grundy, I guess there's a little icon, current hype train conductor. I don't know if that's a new I can see that. I can see the stuff in the chat. Everything else is gone. Can't see any of that stuff. But I can I can see that. Here, why don't we so again all I'm trying to do is something that's not just the those warm tone. Now this will be a little bit on the warmer side. This has got the asphaltum in it here. It's time to bring out a couple of our wood grain textures out here. Like so. So yeah, unfortunately there's no way to restart Streamlabs without, well, restarting Streamlabs, right? There's nothing that I can see here or click on or do. Yeah, just there is I can't even click on any of my elements on screen, which is really strange. I can't always listen because of the kids. The majority is a surprise for me. Ah, okay. Yeah, and well, and I think hobbies. I think we were talking about why it was so much fun to have Megapedia's ride be named Skittles, because Skittles is a squishmallow. Oh, we also want to. I don't want to do some of our little knotwork designs on the door too, because that would be fun to do. Ah, I did have a big hand in the elven lore. Yeah, that's so hobbies for happiness. I know that there's something with Jarrett's name that just his name alone can kind of maybe cause a little bit of angst there, a little bit of problem. So I guess we'll be finding out more of why he has to be a little more judicious when he's using, I guess, his name. Let's see. I think we're all caught up there. So just like on the others, we've thrown a little bit of our lighter color in here, and this is by no means a light color. We'll probably come in with a couple of darks too. And all we're doing is just following the same texture that was already established. So he can get himself into trouble with his name. Okay, there might have been one or two things that I might have missed in that first session. There was a lot of chaos going on that night, and I was able to catch a good portion of it. Let's see, there's a lot of backstory that boy oh boy, that was a little bit of what is it called, autocorrect sabotage right there. There's a little bit of autocorrect sabotage going on. I'm going to try and bring in some of my lighter tones here on this texture. Again, we'll come back. We'll do more. We also, one of the last things we'll do is work on the stones there because, well, we're sticking our paws all over it. So I think on the other one, we did the same thing. That all just kind of waited towards the end. Yeah, mostly sticking with, what the heck. I'll just throw a little bit more of this Indian yellow in here. I know that Valfera just had to head off back to bed again, just as we were about to start messing around with the Indian yellow that he sent us. All right, so I'm going to go back over here to again, this is the asphaltum that's mixed with our brilliant yellow pale. Has a little bit of a kind of a reddish tune. We can make that even more of a red by throwing a little Terra Rosa. And we'll make some more texture out here. Yeah, and something like this, the liner brush works really well for that. That's pretty much what this is. We did actually get, since there were no Cotmans to be had, we literally tried a bunch of different ones here. So I'm guessing, well, who knows, tomorrow and Saturday, if we're able to stream, we might just be testing some of those. This has a little bit more of our basically greenish gray in it here. And don't be surprised if I kind of take this the other direction and we grab a little bit of our darker tone too. With the oils, it's really amazing the difference. The oil paints can just be shockingly dark and shockingly bright and such, saturated compared to the acrylics. Yeah, we'll let that get a little later. Maybe we got to work on our horses' heads up here. This was kind of before we really had. This is the very first time we did anything like this. These our horse head decorations on the buildings for our the gables right on the roof, and we hadn't really explored how to do that. That we certainly know how to do it now after all those Rohan buildings. So again, I'm going to see maybe if I can just grab one of those here. Don't know if we'll be able to. Let's see. That one's kind of stuck. We have the archery range, it looks like. But that is just that is monstrous. Oh well, we actually have an Easterling stuck in there. Or no, there's a Dunlending archer in there. Holy smokes. Yeah, there's inside the giant archery range. Well, let's take off the roof here. That's missing a Dunlending archer. He's just sitting in there. So this is going to be really interesting. All that, wow, we really put a lot of that on here. Here, I'm just going to throw this off to the side if I can. And then let's grab our building again here. All right, hobbies for happiness. Thanks for hanging out, and you have a good one. And definitely looking forward to seeing you again, playing the role of Larissa there. And thanks so much for a really fun evening of watching some great role playing. And if everyone could please give Hobbies for Happiness a follow, that would be sensational. I don't know how much lighter I want that to be. I'll let that be dark. I'm going to get a couple of lights there. Take in some more of our brilliant yellow pale. We sometimes just let it mix into whatever actually happens to be here. We didn't go super heavy pre-glaze wise on this. It's such an absorbent surface anyway. I'm not sure that would have really done much for us. All right, this is more of that sort of a greenish color here. Also trying to maybe, like up here, we're not going to be doing much with any kind of highlights there because we want some scorching there. We might even take, oh gosh, actually have weathering powders. One of them is called black soot. And I might just throw some of that on to around here to kind of give it that on fire look. Because, why not? Let's see if I can't maybe get an even lighter color in here. Let me grab a smaller brush even. All right, there's our way. Yeah, we can definitely get lighter than this. Holy smokes, we can. I think there's a couple of, yeah, certainly a couple of areas right here. So Deuce, a lot of the miniatures that you were working on there, now were those a bunch of Bones 5 miniatures then? Because for a second I thought you were like at the Reaper factory slash store slash HQ there, hanging out painting a bunch of Reaper bones. Yeah, now I get some lights over there too. So this, I think it's starting to, some of these things starting to look like they're a little bit more illuminated. Need to get some of my lighter flame down here too. And oh, and thanks again everybody for the hype train as well. That's really appreciated. All the subs, all the everything else. Sorry that it got. I don't know. Maybe it was. Did the hype train do that? Because I don't know if that happened right as the bits came in, and that's what did something. Hey Trashorama, how you doing? Actually, we were back into Rohan, right? Uh, Unfortunately, Streamlabs is being really weird, and it's wiped out all of my scenes. So yeah, no Lake Town. This is all Rohan right here. I don't think we'll be really doing any kind of Lake Town terrain, but we will certainly be doing some Erebor terrain. And actually, yeah, Trash, I'm hoping that GW is actually going to create a War in the North book for Lord of the Rings. That's definitely the latest, oh, I guess, should we say, rumor? But that is the next, in theory anyway, that's the next thing that GW is supposedly doing is War in the North. So hopefully that means some Easterling legendary legions and such. And Trash, so how goes all of the Bones 5 stuff? I hope that you're not being run into the ground too much by that. And I don't know, maybe hopefully you're able to fool around with a little bit of the Bones 5 stuff yourself. So Trashorama, that would actually be dwarves versus Easterlings right there. So we're going past the Hobbit. We're into the War of the Ring. So that would be your Gundabad and especially the Easterlings, because that's obviously that's what was fighting at the same time as the siege of Minas Tirith. The Easterlings were besieging Erebor, and they almost took it over. The Easterlings almost getting to their prize. They were even still fighting after even after the ring was destroyed. I think 2 days after the ring was destroyed, the Easterlings were still duking it out with the dwarves there. So yeah, there are actually dragons in Lord of the Rings. I mean, there is a Smaug profile, but it's really just kind of a, oh, what would you say? It's kind of a single scenario. You really can't play much of a game with that. Uh, Ironically enough, Smaug would probably lose 3/4 of all the scenarios because it requires there's way more victory conditions than just stomping around and flying around, aren't there? Now I think let's go back to some of our darker tones again. And of course Trashorama. Now how many? I think you had told me how many of the in Bones 5, how many new dragons there were. Now, are there any dragons in Bones 5 that you would see as sort of an appropriate Smaug? Or would it be one of the, I don't know, one of the older ones from Bones 4, from 3 or whatever? Because it would certainly be a way easier to work with a Bones dragon than the 400-hour Forge World Smaug that really doesn't fit together. Yeah, so Trash, I mean, there is the War in the North that would, because they actually already have a supplement for that. They already have the Hobbit supplement, so you could do that. They have the Iron Hills dwarves in it and all that kind of stuff. So you could, and of course Smaug is in that, is also in that publication. Now I think that it's just called the Hobbit. I don't think it's called anything else. But this, yeah, this would be War in Erebor, and that would cover the Easterlings, which would be really fantastic. because, well, I would show you the scene of my Iron Hill doors. We can't do that anymore because basically Streamlabs removed all that. But that's what we were doing these guys for, so we have ourselves some Iron Hills dwarves. It wouldn't have been so bad, I guess, maybe if that had happened when we were further into the stream instead of right at the start of the stream. Definitely does handcuff things. Now I think we're making a big difference here with some of these dark. Yeah, I guess because I would really like to be able to show folks what this looked like before there was paint on it. And unfortunately now we can't do that because, well, this was the one building that I had that I could actually physically show folks what it looked like before the painting. So we did film ourselves another video for the Patreon page last night. It was, well, it was some undead guys, but the gist of it was how to paint multiple figures at once, and also how painting the multiple figures at once can kind of keep you from getting too far out over your skis and just being too hasty, right? Don't be hasty, little hobbits. Don't be hasty. So what I'm hoping to be able to do for tomorrow, if we can stream tomorrow and such, is that we'll be working on some of those Lazy Squire miniatures. So very similar to a bones type of material. I have no idea what we would do color scheme wise on some of those. We'll just have to kind of find our way. I have absolutely no idea. We will try to do some stones here, and as we did on this one, I want to get some of the stuff set into the stones a lighter color instead of just automatically doing everything a darker tone. I mean, it's a habit, right? You get in the habit of, well, everything that's mortar in between bricks or stones is darker because it's, well, easier to just do a darker glaze into. Well, actually, it's not all that difficult to do a light glaze, at least not with the oils. It's not. It's time to work in some darks here now where we put our flame. So this is, again, another time where we put the stuff here, we start working in other areas, then we work our way back around to this, right? Okay. What's happening here? This has a little bit of Egyptian violet in there, and also some of the, here, I'll put a little bit more of the asphaltum in there. Egyptian violet is a pretty darn dark color, I have to say. I'm going to see if I can also do this on the interior. It's not going to be easy at all, but again, this with the oils, because you can thin this down so much, and it also, it's not going to dry out on the end of the brush. So if you're doing this with acrylics, maybe your brush might dry out a little bit sooner as you're doing that particular brush stroke. This is darn near a pin line wash here. This is a really absorbent surface because this is the pink insulation, not pink insulation, this is the pink underlayment foam. Yeah, I'm going to get another board in here. Oh, that's right, there's supposed to be a door on that, so at least a hint of a door. Now, let's see if we can, just like we did on the other side, let's maybe darken out some pretty obvious things. And maybe we'll give that a hint of something that's gray here. For the door hinges. And then we have to do some knot work pattern there. Let's see, for dragons, there's a couple options. The Shavrina, which would be nice to see in that smog. Pre-breath glowing to, wow. If you want more of a literal replacement to the GW smog, look at the Eldradus. Well, actually, Trash, both of those sound really good. It would be fun to do the one like you were saying with that fiery buildup in the Smaug chest, but then also have the other one that's just more of a, well, Smaug, right? Let me see if I can do something here to so you guys can actually see this here. No, well, there we go. Okay. So there's the our little knotwork pattern that we're going to try and replicate there. Oh, thanks, Grundy. I appreciate the recommendation. Void of confidence is much appreciated. So yeah, the figures that I just did for that last video, that there was really nothing special to them, but it was part of a long ongoing commission project, and I thought there could be some value for people to see, how you just kind of keep hammering away at a project that's maybe not quite like the Baratheons, where there's a billion of them and all in big units. These were just a bunch of separate individual miniatures. Let's see. So let's see. The first one is Shavrina. Now, are those trash? Are those both bones 5? I'll just have to, I guess, go check it out and see which ones are which. But yeah, you you know that I have such an aversion to do an object source lighting, right? I would totally hate to do some kind of object source lighting where the light is coming from the dragon's chest, right? Wouldn't that be terrible? That would be just horrible. It'd be even worse if it was to be reflected on a bunch of treasure or something like that. I mean, that would just be that would be horrible. Who the heck would want to see that? So we were going to get a little horsey head action going here. And now we've got to build out some knot work. So both are bones 5. So yeah, Grumdy, I really loved the golds were fantastic, obviously on the most recent one that you showed me. But to see it was the classic contrast, right, of not just the warm of the gold, but then you have the intensity of the turquoise for it to play off of. So that was some really amazing stuff. I know we've messaged about it and stuff, but it's actually kind of fun to be able to get to actually say that in person. Bookend Kitties, how the heck are you doing? Nice to see you again. With all the expenses that just hit here, yeah, as we have to drop in, what is it, $1,000 on the stupid waterproofing thing. We'll just have to be printing out our own miniatures for the foreseeable future. We won't be, sadly, won't be able to snag any of the Bones 5 stuff. Maybe, I mean, it's not like it's gonna go away, right? It'll be around. Hopefully, we'll be able to get some later. Maybe snag the dragons, right? So bookend kitties, I hope that you're doing well, and nice to see you. It's always a lot of fun to have you in here. And hopefully, I don't know, maybe next Thursday we can get back into our constructing of terrain. That would be really nice because I really miss being able to build some terrain. It wasn't like it was horrible painting the Baratheon figures or anything like that, but I really, really was enjoying the terrain and making some progress on that. So it's going to be open for another 90 days, so almost 3 months, not quite, a few days shy of 3 months. Grundy says, making the turquoise marble tile bases for the whole army. And boy, Grundy, they really looked sensational, didn't they? And of course, they were just a snap to do. They really looked like they just came together so easily. Actually, if you wanted to And post a link to those again so that people could see those now that we're bringing those up again. So Mrs. Trash had never seen Lord of the Rings, so we sat down and watched the extended versions over the holiday. But Book and Kitties is impatient for some Bones 5. Boy, that Bookend Kitties, that is so bizarre. That is really strange. But then again, I guess that's the new way with shipping, right? It's practically on your doorstep and then it goes to another continent only to come back to your doorstep again. It's crazy, right? The Oak Core Mechanical, PM your address and I'll send you some. Oh, well, thank you so much, Core Mechanical. Now, it's not all the, what was it, Bones USA. So not all of Bones 5 is Bones USA, but it is the newer material, right? Because we did paint a few of those. It was a couple of examples of the Bones USA, and it did seem to be very nice material. It was kind of more like rustic. Let's see. So yeah, and I get Grumdy. Those really looked so fantastic. Oh, here, let's all of a sudden I'm looking like, where the heck did my reference go? Here, let's that unfortunately doesn't seem to want to work. We need something a little bit heavier to do that with. We're just going to use this maybe, and that just might be heavy enough. So that is a little bit heavier there. So Bones Black. Oh, that's all the same stuff. Let me see if I can dig him out here. So, oh yeah, that's the stuff that we used for our Beefy Chiefy right here, right? Yeah, that's the Bones Black stuff, I think. All right, so that's pretty nifty. Oh, hey, Terror Shard, how you doing? Yeah, well, I'm trying to get back to more the normal schedule here. So our terrain Thursday, actually, believe it or not, of all things, I practically started this right on time. It was one of the first streams started at the time that it normally should for weeks. All for weeks, it's been either delayed by, well, either hours or days, depending on what crazy weather thing was going on. Montera shirt, sorry that you can't sleep. I know that Valfera had the same thing going on. So hopefully you're able to, well, hopefully we can just kind of dial things down, make it nice and chill as we add a little bit of rust here to our hinges, because, rusty hinges, why not? Gotta have some rusty hinges. So most of it is bone. It seemed like that's a little bit early for all of it to be Bones Black, which is just such a new thing. Or sorry, the Bones USA. I guess they're just waiting till the factory is set up here, and then they'll be able to churn out all the Bones USA they want. I guess that's probably how that's going to work. It's the delay fish, and Core Mechanical is blaming Dory. Aha. And Terrashard has a no meetings on Friday meeting, of course. Core Mechanical suggests, well, probably a little bit of Bones 6 is where we see the huge upswing in the Bones USA material. I thought I thought they had already done 2 more since Bones 5. I thought we were on Bones 12. I could swear we were on Bones 12. All right, it's time for this little bit of tricksy work right here, which means pretty much just a series of X's right here. And then we're going to attach some lines to them. And we won't forget about our flamey stuff over there. We'll get back to that. Hey, Scooter, how you doing? Let's see, they always started with, I know it's no meeting Friday. And they say, but if you knew that, then why are we having a meeting on Friday? And I guess happy Friday to everybody too. I just realized I kind of forgot what day it was. Now, part of it is that the streaming schedule has been just disrupted so much. I just went, oh, okay, so it is Friday. All right. I'm not quite sure what day I thought it was, but I definitely thought it was some other day. Let's see. So, Scooter, I hope that you're doing well. Ooh, let's bring in a bit more of our. Do I want to move this over? I don't know. We'll just see what happens. We're going to connect some of these little X's right here, and we'll see if we want to make some modifications to that or not. Let's see. So, trash, do you mean by GW as far as supplements go? Um, You'll have to be a little bit more specific, or because as far as painting goes, obviously the most complete painted army that we have is the Easterlings. Actually, there were some new Easterling. Well, we've just been calling them the ninjas, but the new dragons, the new not dragon knights, but the basically young dragons, dragons in training, or dragon knights in training, I guess we should say. I'm just gonna have to close it. Yeah, we'll just close it out this way. Keep it simple. Yeah, actually, I kind of like that right there. So Trashorama, we have to make all of the factions of Middle Earth if we want to do that big campaign. That's why the 3D printing has proven to be really, really crucial, because it's providing, well, even things like this right here. So instead of having to convert other things into Candace chariots, we now have as many Candace chariots as we want, right? Terra Shard, boy, I'm envious of that, because I really, really, really would love to play that, because that just looks amazing. There's so many different ways, right, Terror Shard, to win that. So yeah, Trashorama, we've as far as the most complete, or what would you say, the most painted stuff that we have, I would say it could be a tie between the Easterlings and Rohan. Maybe Rohan could, but I think they're pretty darn even. I'd have to say those two are pretty even. I think after that, points wise, might be Moria of all things. Believe it or not, it could be Moria. That's the last thing I would have expected, right? Because we have a Balrog, we have three cave trolls, we have a bunch of goblins too. Oh yeah, Terracia, it is just a fantastic game. So as far as the palette goes, it is very, very simple. It's just a piece of parchment paper, and I just use a glue stick to temporarily glue it just to a piece of cardboard. So that's all it is, just a piece of cardboard, so that when I'm done, and maybe the oils are pretty much dried, then I just kind of peel that off like so. Let's see. Yeah, Trish, I'd love to be able to show it to people, but Streamlabs just basically crapped out on me, and all of my scenes are gone, all my pictures are gone, everything is gone. Pretty much right now, all I can just see is what you guys see right now, just the screen and nothing else. It's funny because we thought initially it'd be much easier to play as Sauron. Actually, well, Terror Shard, uh, I've seen some YouTube playthroughs, and It's hard. I think it's been pretty 50-50. Now, also too, Terra Shard, have you played with any of the expansions yet? Because now I don't have Lords of Middle Earth. I have Warriors of Middle Earth, and that one looks really fantastic. So then, after the Moria army trash, I would say it's probably then another getting to be a tie between Harad and Minas Tirith. Uh, there's maybe more Harad that's actually painted than Minas Tirith as far as just physical miniatures, but Minas Tirith already has some characters painted, so obviously you got more points invested in those characters. So Terror Shard, the last couple of playthrough videos that I saw, well, first of all, the one that's and this was well, actually wasn't the last video. It was one of the very first videos I ever saw on playthrough or playing, War of the Ring. The the Fellowship almost won a military victory because the evil player, not only did they get no musters, but every time they would roll those dice, they would roll 14 eyes, and the good player actually was rolling tons of musters, and basically it was like, okay, well, the dice and the cards say go to war, and the fellowship or the your fellowship side almost won a military victory. So yeah, now the Lords of Middle Earth is a little bit more subtle, but the Warriors of Middle Earth, they bring out. I know for the evil side, they bring out Dunlendings, the Spiders, and the Corsairs of Umbar. And on the good side, you have Army of the Dead, Eagles, and Ents. So let's say you've left Moria completely or Isengard completely unguarded, ironically, and because you're going to attack Rohan or somewhere else, and next thing you know, all of a sudden a bunch of Ents show up. So yeah, the Warriors of Middle Earth expansion is really fantastic. All of a sudden, now the evil forces, let's say they want to attack the Grey Havens, well, they just pop their guys on some Corsair ships and they do a Normandy style invasion. So all of a sudden now the attacks don't come from just the usual places. It's almost like everything everything is vulnerable now. So actually, oh, Trashorama, who is, the printing goes ever on. They just, for their new, well, this current month's pledge or whatever, they just announced they've got the supported files for their Ents. So I think there's 4 or 5 different Ents that they have, which is really neat. You know what? I'm gonna go over here with some of our darker rust color here. We got a whole lot of light rust. Let's make this a little bit darker here. I had to buy the Lord's expansion off of the Facebook Marketplace. Well, Terra Shard, it was really weird because it was very easy to find, and this was just a few months ago. It was really easy to find all of them. And Terra Shard, I guess there's another one. There was supposed to be one released last year. I think it was called Heroes of Middle Earth. But to me, I mean, the base game, it's not like the base game is bad or anything like that. But if I'm going to play that thing, it has to at least be with the Warriors of Middle Earth. Got to at least have that expansion. And it doesn't really seem to add a whole bunch of time to the game, which is good. All right, here, let's make this look a little bit more horsey, shall we? There we go. Let's see, did you try BGG? Board Game Geek. Actually, well, I was able to get the regular, the Warriors of Middle Earth just on Amazon. I know that Armored Wolf was able to locate it. Uh, I forget where, but Armored Wolf said, "Oh yeah, here it is." So he was able to find Lords of Middle Earth there. Again, we that is not something we're going to be able to secure for a little while here until we can kind of work our way through the next few months, I think. But Tirashard put the War of the Ring on hold to get in some protocol and some armada. Well, actually, Terror Shard. Now, what do you think of the armada rules? I guess that's the next thing because a lot of people are asking me about armada. So, all right, I think we can set this one aside. So I think we've got this pretty well established here, and we can continue on now with some of this work. Oh, let's see. Tarash Rema says that there is a giant spider from Bones 5 that would make an excellent Shelob. Trent, that sounds really good. I know way back in, this is just when well, the game store that we played at went away, and this is before I was selling off all the Lord of the Rings stuff that was painted. I actually had, it was sort of like a Bones material. It was like a board game type spider figure, and we were going to use that as a Shelob. I know that there's a whole bunch of small. Oh, actually, I still have them. Trash. And these are from like Bones 1 or Bones 2. But all the little spiders, the small ones, I use those as the spider broods because the spider queen can actually, well, as you can imagine, generate a whole bunch of little spider broods. Let's see. So the Lord's version I got was used and missing a golem tile. So let's see. Now the other thing too, well, I guess Terror Shard, that doesn't affect the Elven rings, does it? Having Lords of Middle Earth. I wasn't sure if you don't use the Elven rings.
So say we all.
And thank you so much, Art Club Bruce. Thank you so much for that sub. I really appreciate it there. Sorry that it was a little bit hard to see because my Streamlabs is just being really weird, and all I see is what you guys see. All of my scenes and everything else is gone. So I had to look in another part of the screen to see who it was. But thank you so much, Art Cloud Bruce. I appreciate that. Actually, I'm just glad to be able to be working on some terrain again. Let's see. So Tirashard. Oh, the other thing too, when I wanted to mention, I guess with the Lord's dice, that if there's like some really weird results that can roll, and you're pretty much handing the evil player something that's really just devastating if it's one of the character dice, right? And if you roll the wrong thing, it's it can be some bad stuff going on. I don't remember what that was, but Urkla, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Yeah, we're trying to get our second building painted here. It was made very much like the first building was, except this time we actually had some half-inch regular insulation foam as opposed to just the quarter-inch floor underlayment foam. We'll get to our stone floor also, but we want to get to some of these other guys next here. Yeah, Terrashard, these guys, at one point, these guys were rolling like 8 or 9 dice. I think the evil player had something like 9 dice at one point because all the characters were out there. What you got? The Balrog. You have, well, Elrond, Galadriel. I don't know if there's an actual Gandalf the White as far as the lords go. And I don't know if the Witch King is, if there's like a more specific Witch King. Oh, well, I think you also have the Mouth of Sauron in the base game, don't you? Let's see. Terror Shard says there's a Kraken in Armada that you need to have a 75mm square for. And I'm just trying to get caught up on the chats there. There we go. So Pumpkin Kitties, sorry that you have to wait on some of the bones goodies there that just kind of keeps like tantalizingly appearing and then disappearing. Oh man, I guess that's just that's the kind of shipping world that we live in these days. I did see a lore video on the Mouth of Sauron, and they were basically trying to say, well, yes, this guy's a black Numenorian, but no, he hasn't been around since the Second Age. They were basically saying he's maybe only about 80 to 100 years old. That's it. I wasn't so sure about that. It's basically they just looked at a couple of quotes and they said, well, if you read it this way, he's just sort of a younger sorcerer. So Tirisha, I'm not sure, boy. That I have seen Mouth of Sauron come out a few times, but I think I don't know if it's kind of that the early game, mid game, or that late game with the Mordor track. I know one of the last games I saw was really shocking because the evil player for the first 3 turns rolled, I think, 2 musters total, and that didn't go very well. Let me see. So yeah, I don't. Well, of course we have that other, the anime movie War of the Rohirrim, which is supposed to be kind of a Helm Hammerhand feature right there. So that could be interesting. It's apparently New Line Cinema has a lot to do with that project. So maybe that could be good news, right? If New Line Cinema has a lot to do with that. I need to get a couple of lighter yellows here. Yeah. If it's popular, we'll get a surge of new Lord of the Rings stuff. Boy, Terror Shard, I was really disappointed when I found out by watching Zorpazorp's channel that back in that 2005, 2006 era, GW was putting out a Lord of the Rings magazine that had scenarios, profiles, miniatures. Like a new miniature came out with every issue. And I guess that was only in Europe and Australia because that never happened here. I think, weren't we talking about that, Trashorama? Now, as far as the Amazon series goes, I'm like, yeah, I'm just kind of closing my eyes and crossing my fingers that doesn't end up being another, what was that, final season of Game of Thrones or whatever, because that final season of Game of Thrones, that didn't do any good for the Song of Ice and Fire game, that's for sure. Yeah, that game really suffered from that. Let's see if I can't get a couple of more of my lighter yellows and such down here onto the floor. There's a new Underbridge audiobook series coming out. Boy, Trashorama, I saw actually it was on my Instagram feed, uh, and I just spaced on his name too. Hey, Landrast, how you doing? Yeah, Landrest. We always tell people, right? It's based on the books, not on the show. But the show killed the interest in it. It just literally. There was actually some people who were playing the game and they stopped playing the game just because they hated the show so much. And then it was very hard to try and market the game because people were just maybe it was just so raw, right? Landrast. Maybe it's a little bit different now. I don't know. Maybe it's different now. I guess the good news is that as far as that anime thing goes, New Line Cinema and some of the folks that were involved with the movies are actually involved with that. And let's all congratulate Landrast because Landrast showed me a picture of his new diploma and everything. And Landrast, we got to give him congratulations on a graduation well earned. Seraph, how you doing? Seraph, Seraph just wow, able to bring that out in no time at all. So actually, well, here we. This is going to be interesting because the camera is backed out so far. We'll actually be able to, well, yeah, practically see both units side by side. So there's your Rose Knights, and there is your Kingsmen. Now we've been working on the Queensmen too. Let me see if I can dig these out for you. There they are. So here's the Queensmen that we've been hammering away at there. So yes, definitely congratulations there for Landrast. But oh yeah, that's always fun to see that there. So they really, wow, that the game was not doing super well. And then that episode, I don't know if was it just that episode or was it the whole last season that people kind of didn't really didn't really enjoy too much, I guess. The Song of Ice and Fire Miniatures game is a great rank and file game. It is there's a lot of fun aspects to it. My favorite is the off-board stuff for sure. I really enjoy that. Now, and Landrest, I've been meaning to ask you just for the heck of it. Have you had a chance to? Well, I know it's been kind of crazy lately and stuff, but have you done any more landscapes? Because I know you were really starting to kind of crank out some of those landscapes. Now, was that season 8, that last one there? Because again, I never saw it. I never saw it. I think I saw 5 minutes of the first episode, and that was it. That's all I ever really saw of it. So Landrast, is that kind of the same thing where we got the whole, well, Rohan Royal Guard aren't that shade of green, right? Landrast, and we had to kind of tell him, you do realize that they don't actually exist, right? Oh, that's always, isn't that crazy, Landrast? You have to say, okay, all right, yes, it's a story, but it's a story. That's what it is. Well, Landres, like you say, you're kind of you're kind of occupied right now. Got a lot of things going on, and but like you say, it'll be interesting to have the other humans around. So hopefully that is very fun, or just kind of a nice little change, if anything. I think we're almost caught up. Let's see. So livid those guys didn't make it up and play pretend the way I wanted them to. Yes, that's you're not playing pretend right. All right, let's go back and I'm just really glad that this is not acrylic because boy, that would have all been dry. My goodness. It's hilarious to every so often, well, maybe not so hilarious because it's kind of a bummer, but to be working with the acrylics and all of a sudden go, oh, yeah, probably should have washed out that brush right there because now all that paint's dry in there. You'd be surprised at how used you get to it with the oils. You'd be really surprised. My Landress gets to go into the office and see other humans. So Landress, have you got your so all of your lunch stuff? It's marked with skulls and crossbones and hazard markings and stuff like that, so that nobody goes into the refrigerator and eats any of your lunch or anything like that. I just that's always an office favorite, right? Stealing other people's lunches or at least stuff out of other people's lunches. Let's see, I'm used to just using a shade to get my shadows. Not sure how to do it with the oils. About to paint a Star-Lord's cloak. Boy, yeah, Grundy, it's there's just no way to stream the acrylic. I don't even well, I think a lot of the people that stream the acrylics, they end up with dried paint on their brushes, don't they? Or they really have to focus on what they're doing because, well, guess what? Otherwise, that's just going to dry on there. Ooh, Landress, that is quality theft prevention right there. I like that. That should be pretty effective, right? You just licking everything. So that way they can't even like open it up and lick it themselves because they'll just be too grossed out, right? Now we're just jumping back and forth here between our lights and darks. I have to say though, there is no way that I'm ever painting terrain with acrylics again. That's just never going to happen because the oils are just too darn convenient for such a thing. Now I think I can actually maybe start to think about doing some stuff with the stones here. So we're talking about making some of these things maybe lighter here. I don't know. I'm going to make this almost, well, as much of a pin line wash as I can maybe. See what happens here. And we'll definitely start closer to the building so that my hand does not get into this because it will otherwise. Okay, I can see that. I know it won't look great and everyone will know I did it that way. Well, Terra Shard, again, you don't always, with the oils, you don't necessarily have to be doing glazes and pin line washes, right? You can sort of start out with that dry brushy thing. We did it here, right? So instead of doing a glazy thing there, we just sort of actually took the darker colors and just dry brushed those in too. All right, Trash Rim, yeah, it's 1:30 here too. You have a good night, and well, hopefully we get to catch it tomorrow. And my goal is tomorrow to start at the usual time. Again, I make no, these days I make no promises on that, but we will shoot for our normal, more of a normal start time tomorrow. Let's see. So Terror Shard says that their best friend worked for Games Workshop 4 years and also made him paint as part of his job. Well, Terror Shard, well, we talk about it all the time, right? We're our own worst critics all the time. But you just do what you can do. When I look back at figures that I did when we first started, we had no idea what we were doing. When we first started with this stuff, we had absolutely no clue what anything was. We were literally starting from zero. even though we had done 2D art for years. And when we look at stuff that we did then and compare it to now, there is no way to compare it. But you just sort of have to give yourself a little bit of slack, right? I know that you would love to be able to. There's things you would love to be able to do just right now. Say, man, I wish I could just execute this plan. And it definitely has to be frustrating to not be able to quite execute the plan the way you want to. And we got useless wizard. Useless wizard has entered the building. A wizard is never useless, except when he has to put out fires. I'll see you guys later. I have to go head off to Walgreens. So useless wizard, how the heck are you doing? And if everyone could please give useless wizard a follow. Useless wizard, I've enjoyed seeing some of the miniatures you've been posting to your Instagram. If you wanted to, if you want to post some of your Instagram links into the chat there so that people can see what kind of fun stuff that you've been painting on stream. And Useless Wizard, are you still doing, well, actually it's Thursday. Well, it was Thursday. Are you still doing your Thursday interview streams too? Because I wasn't sure. I know you're doing your painting streams because I see all the neat stuff you've been painting. Wasn't sure if you still had your interview streams going. Oh, the interview is releasing on the. Oh, speaking of interviews, that was really fun. And that releases on the podcast. Well, that's very cool. Useless Wizard. Um, you'll have to send me the link to that so that I can just kind of listen to that again. It was really fun to do that. Let's see. Oh, Terra Shard need to meet a certain standard. I feel ashamed. Well, Terra Shard, I know. Well, you've heard me say it a couple of times. Well, maybe more than a couple of times. The whole, nobody else knows what it is that you're trying to do. Only you do. But like you say, I know. They may not know, but I know. Hey, Angry Ham, how you doing? And Pig-Faced Ores, nice to see you. Useless Wizard is focusing on the backlog of videos. Well, gee whiz, Useless Wizard, you were doing one every Thursday, right? For a long time. So yeah, actually, again, folks, if you want to check out Useless Wizard did all kinds of fantastic interviews. I think it was every Thursday, wasn't it? Or at least every other Thursday, Useless Wizard doing the interview streams. Hey, Fantastic Plastic, nice to see you too. But Terra Shard, yeah, I just with the recently, we haven't exactly felt like masters of the universe here, for sure. So I do I can definitely sort of sympathize with that feeling of wow, yeah, doesn't seem like whatever I do doesn't seem like I'm ever gonna catch up. So Pig-Faced Orc, I wish I could show you some of the other scenes. Sadly, Streamlabs has decided to take all of those away from me, from this stream in particular. But these are my Rohan buildings here. So this is a terrain for Rohan. And again, I wish I could show you the screens. It'd be way easier to show you that. But my Dunlendings here and my Wolves of Isengard. So you can see the same fiery beams. Well, the Dunlendings have attacked Rohan, and I like to have army themes like that, and even army themes that go with the terrain. So I thought I would just take a couple of the smaller Rohan buildings and set them on fire like that. So Angry Ham, hey Specka Spud, how you doing? So Angry Ham, that doesn't sound really good there. I hope that's just something that's kind of a quick little temporary thing, and it just sort of goes away. You don't have to deal with that for too long. So, oh, sorry, Pigfacer, you said why the glove? It's just because uh, it's to protect the surface from me. It's not me from the surface. It's just I don't want to be. If my hands touch that, it's more likely to wipe away some of the oil paints because obviously this is not going to be dry. So that's why the glove here. Sorry, I thought you said why the glow. Again, all my screens disappeared. Everything, just all the stuff like the chat. I have to look in a whole different place to see the chat, like literally on another monitor. So it's a little bit difficult to keep up with that. And I apologize. Let's see. So Angry Ham, that sounds like very productive advice right there. But maybe you should tell that particular physician there, your handwriting is not neat. Therefore, you probably shouldn't be a doctor anymore. I mean, that's never mind the fact that that's what you do for a living, and that's what all the training and studying and all that has been for. Just like, you can't really write, so yeah, you really shouldn't be doing that anymore. Find something else, right? Yeah, yeah, Grumday, I'm really sad we can't do any of those fun things. It's just kind of aggravating to say the least. And the big mystery is something like that's never happened before, but something tells me there's something with this new update. Yeah. Terra shared, well, I'm hoping that.
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
And thank you so much, Renick Toy. Again, sorry that I can't look at my usual thing to see who has followed. All of that stuff is gone, but thank you so much for that follow, Renick Toy. I appreciate that. So yeah, like right there, unless I see it on the screen as it shows up, it just goes away, and I have no way to see who that was. And unfortunately, I can't. Well, I'd have to basically restart Streamlabs, and that wouldn't be so good for the stream, would it? That would be somewhat of a problem.
So say we all.
Well, thank you so much, Rennick Toy. We can do this, though. Thank you very much. Let's see. Let's see. As far as I understand, all types of. Oh, okay. So Terra Shard has adopted the crush the brush rather than caress the brush option there. So yeah, that is, well, that's something we always talk about here. Caress the brush, don't crush the brush. I am sort of looking forward, though, to being able to take some photos with our burning buildings, right? And our done landings. I think that's going to be really cool. And I actually did just clear away the terrain for some other photos. But the rest is super important, otherwise it will never go away and get really bad. Oh, okay, that's the that is the carpal tunnel thing. Yeah, so Terra Shard, you can see how we're just, wow, since we're backed out so far, this is how we're typically holding the brush here, sometimes not even using the thumb. But you can see, look at how light this is. Okay, here, we'll just use these two fingers right here. Look, Mom, no thumbs. We oppose the opposable thumb here. And yet we're still able to get ourselves some decent lines and such, right? Able to get some fun lines there. Oh, Rennick Toy. Oh, thanks, Rennick Toy, for the win. See, now I can actually see the whole thing. So, Rennick Toy, I really do appreciate the. Thank you so much for the sub there. All of the subs and everything else that goes into getting more, obviously, more of the stuff we need for our terrain pieces. Boy, I wish this could fit on screen a little bit easier here, but we have made a ton of terrain. This is one of the Rohan pieces, so that's an archery range that we made right there. And you can go back and watch all of those streams. We made believe it or not, we made a windmill. Yes, indeed, we made a windmill. We made the not so great Hall of Erkenbrand. We've made so many fun pieces. We actually started working on our Easterling terrain before all the craziness kicked in. So typically Thursdays, starting very late at night Central Time, about 11:30 or so Central Time, that's when we get into our terrain building. And I do believe we made these first couple of terrain pieces, we made them about 8 weeks ago. It's weird. It seems like we've been doing this forever, but it's only actually been 8 weeks on the terrain pieces. Let's see. And if actually bookend kitties, aren't there? I think they sell them for pens, right? It's like basically a pad that just goes around the pen, so you could conceivably turn like a. Actually, maybe you could use those on brushes. There's got to be some kind of like a handle for a pen that you could use that basically would turn this skinny handle into something like that. There's got to be something like that. The useless wizard started doing a whole bunch of wrist stretches. Well, this is an exercise channel after all. And what is one of the things that we do? We have a kind of a set of exercises that I do because we're hunched over all the time, which is not really, that's not ideal, is it? You don't want to be hunched over all the time, but we kind of have to be. So to sort of counteract that, I try and do some of those exercises, kind of stretching things, that sort of stuff. You know what? I'm going to get some of these stones lighter here. I think we'll do that. Oh, thanks, Grumdy. And of course, cheers. Haha, cheers for cheers. Well, Grumdy, thank you very much. And hopefully we can get to those Storm Sunder figures, those Lazy Squire Games figures tomorrow night. At least one of them. I'll try and get a couple of them prepped, and we'll see what we can do. I'm going to get a couple more of these lighter ones here. Yeah, right here too. And one of these close to the building. That's more like it. But not all just that green. Let's see if we can't take some of our asphaltum here and create some different color stones. Let's see, Bookend Kitties has some pencil grips used to train kids to hold them right, and you can get those. So Dr. Grip's pens have squishy grip. Now, one thing too, and of course, well, we're not working on a miniature right now. Let me see if I can just grab something here. So both of my elbows right now are resting on one of those gel things. Speaking of keyboards, those keyboard rests, right? It's a big old gel thing. Both of my elbows are sticking on that. So this hand's not going anywhere. It's resting on one of those things. Then this hand also, but here, this hand touches this. So we basically made a tripod out of this, right? Both elbows are totally supported. This hand now supporting this hand, and that's why I can just sit here. I'm going to sit here forever. Well, maybe not forever. I might have to, shall we say, use the facilities. But as far as our, worrying about our hands or whatever, kind of moving around, shaky, whatever, definitely cuts down on that. Actually, Pig-Faced Orc has that's a very yummy suggestion right there. Yeah, certainly wouldn't be opposed to that suggestion whatsoever. Okay, just looking to get some variety here in the stones there. Moe, nice to see you again. I hope that all is well with you. I don't know if Europe still has the crazy weather patterns going on right now. Because there's, well, crazy enough here, but I know that Europe also had some really wacky really bizarre weather things going on, just kind of in multiple places. So yeah, I guess the some of those little handles could really help. I don't want to get too many of these later because, well, we've got to also do our object source lighting on these guys, and I think maybe we can start to think about that. So I guess there's some moisture there to deal with. I'm gonna take this here and we'll just dive in with a little bit of our lighting on some of our stones here. Doesn't have to be very much. I mean, we did it on our wood grain texture. Why not do this on the stones as well? Especially when we're really close to our fire zone here. Actually, Terra Shard, ironically enough, I was trying to use the chopsticks and stuff that the Korean barbecue and just wasn't having much success. And Armored Wolf said, well, hold the stupid chopsticks like you hold your brush instead of trying to crush the chopsticks. And that really yielded some pretty instant results. And that was really good. All of a sudden, I was able to use the chopsticks. So that could be something. So again, do not crush the brush, caress the brush. Look, now I'm just using these two fingers and nothing else. It's just those two fingers, nothing else. Nice and easy. Boy, what kind of stuff have you been painting lately? I know I haven't been able to hang out in Steela's streams as much lately, just with all of the craziness here. Normally, I would be exercising during that time, but not everything's kind of backwards and weird right now. So I don't get to do some of the things that I would normally be doing at that time. And all kidding aside, I know it's been brought up a couple of times this idea that boy, if you have that death grip on something, it's not like it'll cause arthritis, but it's definitely going to make things unpleasant for you when it comes to working on the miniatures for any sustained period of time. And I've seen it happen to folks. I mean, there's somebody I know that they literally had that death grip on the brush, and they could only paint for 20 minutes, and they just stopped. And I looked at their hands, how they were holding the brush. I said, "Good grief, you're lucky you can paint for 5 minutes like that, especially without snapping the brush handle in half." Not sure how much lighter I want to go on some of my reflected light down here, but I don't know. Let's see what happens. So it should be really fun. Man, am I looking forward to seeing these guys photograph with this terrain right here. Let's see. Pig face order to try your no thumb advice, paint in your litter box, and just can't do it. Just hold it lightly with my. Well, pig faced work, but that's a victory in and of itself, right? Even if the thumb is still holding the brush, it's still a victory because the brush is definitely being held a little bit less tightly, right? So I would count that as a win for sure. That is definitely a win. One of the other fun things about painting terrain with the oils is that it's very absorbent. One of the things that's not fun about painting it with the acrylics is that it's absorbent. So it is really fun to be able to paint this stuff with the oils and not have to deal with the all of those acrylic things, man. Yeah, I've seen fantastic plastic. I've seen some really, I don't know if you want to call them off-brand brushes or something like that, but they'll try and kind of advertise themselves with the ergonomic handles. Where the heck? Oh, here you go. So see this thing here? Okay, let's maybe move that out of the way. It's easiest. So stuff like that. Look at the difference between the two. So I guess you can hold this easier. So I don't know, maybe something like this is something. I just got this off of either Dick Blake or Amazon. It's one of those cheap, uh, just garden variety brushes, nothing special, right? Let's see. Maybe is that the kind of shape that they have, Terra Shard, like we were just showing there? What about those rubber grips? You can slide over pentacles. Yeah, that's pig-faced orc. I was asking, what are those called? I'm sure you can just find those at what office supply stores or something like that, I would imagine. A Mega TV. How you doing? Let's see. So those brushes I like, they work good and they are cheap. So they do, you like those? I think I actually had a few. That was part of a set. I don't know. What would you say, Omega? There's like a set of 10 or 12 or 8 or whatever, typically with those things. Oh, and Bookend Kitties thinks that was rosemary. It's kind of funny. I've never actually used any of the rosemary brushes. I have never yet used a rosemary brush. I mean, it's not intentional. I maybe I'll just maybe we'll try and get some of those. I know that there was some other, shall we say, brush Kickstarters that came out, and a lot of people said, well, those are pretty much just rosemary brushes with a different name on them. So if that's the case, I don't know, maybe we'll see if we can get some rosemary brushes. But I'm going to try and get some darks here into some of my stones, especially these ones that have the light area around the outside. Again, just trying to create some differences between these stones here. Let's see. Okay, meeting is in 5 hours. Well, Terra Shard, I really hope that you lose that pillow fight. You get yourself some sleep so that you're, well, so Terra Shard, if you're in that meeting with no pants or anything like that, don't assume it's just a dream, that you're just having that the typical, business nightmare dream. Maybe double check to be sure that the pants are actually there, because you never really know, do you? Yeah, so we won't say the name, but when those things first hit, there were a bunch of folks that said, yeah, those are rosemary brushes just with a different name slapped on them, maybe a different type of handle, but for all intents and purposes, the bristles, everything is just a rosemary. It's all virtual. Well, I guess Tirisha, just make sure that the webcam is pointed, I guess, in the upright and locked position in case the bathrobe is a bit open, maybe. There's maybe the fan blows onto the bathrobe and maybe things get a little bit revealing all of a sudden. You never know what might happen. Let's see. So it's all with the Indian folks, not and the Chicago folks aren't until after lunch. Hopefully you are successful with the meetings. Uh, Non-sanctioned nudity or not, hopefully those all go really well. Deuce, well, of course, my Kickstarter campaign for instant nap time. I don't know. I thought there was okay, maybe the first name that we chose was not the greatest name, but instant nap time, I think it could be a huge hit, especially for adults that are just looking for a few minutes of peace and quiet every day. So just again, now that we can get a little bit more of a grip around the outside here. We'll work some more on our stones. So, oh, it's a Moe managed to install a temporary desk to paint a little. I'm always testing out the mixed oils. Now, Moe, which brand did you get? I remember you had asked a few times about different brands, what was available for you and such. So hopefully you were able to get some decent brands. And I'm just gonna darken that up more. That's better. Okay. So Terrashard again, you have a good one. What is it? Oh, it says so it's 201 here. Now I'm gonna try and work in a little bit more of our darker tones. Boy, when I get to, well, actually I can take that roof off of there. When we get to these roofs with all the straw that we put in there, that is going to be really wild. Boy, look at how much easier it was doing these after we kind of started to learn what the heck we were doing, which of course is just like any project, right? You know exactly what the heck you're doing when you don't have to do it anymore. It is just like that. So, well, yeah, we've been trying some different paint colors here, especially I think the Indian yellow of there's been several. Oh, and then of course, you know, I think you saw the homemade oil paints or the homemade fluorescent oils that we created. We've been using those here on this. So Speck Spud, it was mostly the heavy gloss gel, but we infused it with a little bit of this. I don't even know what it was. It was some kind of straw or whatever. I don't even know. Maybe some kind of a grass. I'm not sure. But you can go back and actually watch those sessions, like the session on the archery range there. And you can see the process of the roofs being done. As always, right, we save every single session here as a highlight, which is really cool because highlights don't get deleted. Those last forever. Whereas even as a partner, the VODs go away after 60 days, but not the highlights. Hopefully Twitch never figures that out. Yeah, let's do I need to come in? I want to maybe come in with some lighter colors in between some of these stones. We don't want to just emphasize only the darker colors in between the stones. Yeah, Specus, but I wish I could think of what the heck it was called. I just don't know what it was called. And we got it years ago. I mean, 15, 16 plus years ago. And we just got it was at a Michael's. Yeah, we just had a Michael's and their kind of their dried plant area. We used to get all kinds of dried plants from Michael's because those worked really well for basing, terrain pieces, all that kind of good stuff. So that worked out really well. I if I had more of those, I'd still be using them. I don't use them very often anymore just because, well, a lot of them are gone. Don't have them anymore, sadly. Mostly just got used up. And gee whiz, I can't remember the last time we were in a Michael's. I don't know if that's something they would have online in their online store. I don't know. I haven't. I don't know if I've ever done Michael's. Any online purchasing from Michael's. I know I have from Hobby Lobby all the time. But I don't know if I've done that with Michael's. So here, let's see if we can get some more definition here on our stairs. Yeah. We'll come back into this stuff too. We have to let some of that just set for a bit. Because this is so darn absorbent, it's not like it's going to be dry, but if we let this be absorbent, do its thing, we'll be able to come back and do a little bit more of our There's a couple of lights I'd want to add and a few darks in a couple places too. So we're sort of hopping back and forth here between the indigo and the Van Dyke brown. This is a bit more of our indigo right here. Gives it a not just a nice rich dark, but sort of a coolness to it as well. And if everyone could please also help out our moderator, Armored Wolf, just to follow Armored Wolf on Instagram. Check out Armored Wolf's Etsy page. He just does some really amazing artwork with leather and also a metalsmith too. Just look at some of the fantastic things he has made. We talk about the dice bags all the time, but definitely check out some of the wearables also, some barrettes and things like journal covers, because, you know, I think people might like journal covers too. What I'd also like to do is get a couple lighter stones off on the side here. And again, if I do this in a little bit more of almost like a dry brush fashion, we'll get some of our stone texture as well. But unlike with the acrylics, you can mix with what's already there. That's just what's really amazing about the oils. Get a few on this side too. Now I did just throw a little bit of my thinner in there. I was hoping to, there we go. Sorry, I had to kind of turn this a bit so that I could see a little bit better what was going on there. Yeah. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to be coming back in here. We'll be picking out a couple of these stones, making them a slightly different color there. But the main thing that we used Specca Spud for the roofs was that Liquitex Heavy Gel. I wish that I could show you the scene with actually this building right here with no paint on it. Unfortunately, that is not available to us right now. Something weird happened with Streamlabs. Don't quite understand what's going on with that. All right, well, let's get our lighter green stones. Just a couple of these guys. Doesn't have to be a bunch, but that's the Perline Black, by the way. It is not black. It's just a really dark green, kind of like phthalo green and black mixed together. I guess if you were to just kind of wonder what it was, but it used to be a printing ink at one point. Well, I guess maybe it's still used for printing in some circles, but it's got kind of a relatively long history, at least 150 plus years of existence, maybe more. So yeah, that's well, glow is starting to resemble the glow on our done lending, isn't it? It's there it is. There's a brush that I was kind of all of a sudden missing. Here, why don't we just clean that stuff out of there first. Now, speaking of brushes, where'd they go? Since the Cotmans were out of stock for whatever reason, we have a few different things. Some of these are cheaper. There's some synthetics in there. There's a couple of so-called Kolinskis there. Here's a couple of, these are synthetic as opposed to the, so look at this. So see that one that says Finest Red Sable, this one says Golden Taklon. So we're going to compare those two. I just want to see how they work. They could be terrible. They could be average. They could be great. Only one way to find out though, right? Only one way. All right, now I'm gonna try and come in here with some of my lighter yellows and oranges. Maybe on some of the stones there. Especially right under where the flames are. And this is still not even the brightest we can go, but I think that's we don't want to get too much brighter than that. Okay, and a little more light this way too. And we also use the same heavy gloss gel for the flames. It is the same heavy gloss gel. Well, here's our campfire that we did. And it's the same stuff that we use as water effects on the, we also use it as icicles on our vehicles. I mean, we just use that literally for everything. Let me see if I can snag one of our ships here. So yeah, all of our Armada ships that we've been working on. So all of that, that's actually multiple layers. So we throw it on for shape, just like what we did here for the fire, right? Then we paint it, and then we actually put some more water effects over the top of it. Some of it was semi-translucent, some of it was had like some paint in it, and then some parts of it were just clear, and that was really fun. All right, I'm gonna get a couple of more of my lights in here too. What about on the walls? There, something tells me we need to get a couple of more lights on that wood grain there, just with where the fire happens to be. I'm looking around. Oh, yeah, that was the other thing I wanted to do here. Where's my orange? The light coming this way. I don't want to forget about that. Almost did. So a little bit thinner into that. And the idea is, there we go. So that's kind of catching the sides of these stones here as we move along this way. Hopefully that's going to work for us. I think it will. Yeah. And not the entire stone, just kind of the edge of the stone here. That's it. So that that glow sort of turns the corner just ever so slightly.